There's a reason why Capricorn seems like the most unshakable soul in the zodiac. They endure storms in silence, build legacies without applause, and survive betrayals without revenge. They are the mountain, steady, timeless, unmoving. But even the tallest mountains have fault lines deep beneath their surface. Capricorn doesn't wear their pain. They carry it in the bones, in the quiet moments when no one's watching. They don't yell when something breaks their heart. They recalibrate. They restructure. They keep climbing. But what if I told you that there are certain zodiac signs that shake Capricorn's inner foundation, not with cruelty, but with energy so opposite, so wild, so unpredictable? It feels like the stars themselves are mocking everything Capricorn stands for. This isn't about petty incompatibilities. It's not about someone chewing too loudly or texting back too slowly. This is about something much deeper. Spiritual contrast, energetic dissonance, and karmic friction. Because if Capricorn was born to climb, then these 4 signs were born to dance in the wind, to set fire to maps, to rewrite destinies on the fly. They don't just annoy Capricorn. They challenge them. They unravel them. They show up like soul contracts designed to provoke transformation through chaos. And that is exactly why this story matters. Let's pause for a moment and ask the bigger question. Why would the universe, ruled by precision and purpose, place these 4 disruptive energies directly in the path of Capricorn's climb? Why would someone so disciplined, so responsible, so cautious, keep encountering people who are unpredictable, irreverent, impulsive, and chaotic? Because Capricorn didn't come here just to build systems. They came to test them. They came to break through their own limits. And sometimes, it takes a soul unlike yours to activate the growth you've been avoiding. In the language of energy, every zodiac interaction is a kind of alchemy. Some signs merge effortlessly, fire with fire, water with water. But other pairings feel like sandpaper rubbing against skin. They don't soothe. They scrape. They peel back the layers and ask, what are you really made of, Capricorn? If you've ever had a Gemini whirlwind tear through your perfectly planned life, if you've ever loved a Sagittarius who made you feel reckless just by standing next to them, if you've worked with an Aquarius who questioned every single system you built, or if you've clashed with an Aries who acted before you could even finish your sentence, then you've already met the teachers that the universe sent, disguised as emotional chaos. They weren't your enemies. They were your mirrors. Now don't get me wrong. This isn't about blaming or shaming any zodiac sign. We're not here to say Gemini is wrong for being a whirlwind, or Aries is bad for charging ahead. This is about understanding energy, about seeing the unseen spiritual contracts that play out through personality clashes. And let me tell you this, Capricorn, the signs you hate the most may be the exact signs that hold the keys to your evolution. They're not here to destroy you. They're here to disrupt the parts of you that no longer serve your soul. So in this journey, we're not just naming the 4 signs that trigger Capricorn. We're going to reveal what they awaken. We're going to look at why Capricorn, the builder of empires, feels so thrown off by certain energies. And we'll discover the hidden wisdom behind each of these cosmic clashes. Because the truth is, Capricorn doesn't hate easily. But when they do, it's usually because they're being forced to confront something they've worked hard to bury. Control, perfectionism, fear of failure, and the illusion that everything must follow a plan to be meaningful. By the end of this video, you might just find yourself seeing your enemies differently. Not as threats, but as messages from the universe in human form. Not as chaos, but as divine interruptions sent to redirect your soul back to truth. So, let's begin. Who are the 4 signs that most consistently challenge the patience, purpose, and structure of Capricorn's sacred mountain path? Let's start with the one that arrives like a breeze only to become a hurricane. Coming up next, Gemini, the storm that disrupts the blueprints. Before we continue, let us know in the comments, have you ever had a Capricorn versus chaos moment with someone? Was it a Gemini, Sagittarius, Aquarius, or Aries? Your story might help another Capricorn feel seen. Sign number 1. Gemini, the storm that disrupts the blueprints. To a Capricorn, life is a blueprint, a sequence, a sacred pattern. Every decision is a brick, every plan a scaffold, every commitment a structure meant to last. And then enters Gemini. Like wind through scaffolding, like laughter in the middle of a funeral, like a lightning bolt striking the mountain not once, but twice. They don't just shake the plan, they dance on it. And to Capricorn, that's not just frustrating, it's threatening. Capricorn lives by intention. Their time is sacred. Their steps, calculated. They don't just do things, they build them. So when a Gemini floats into their life with 12 ideas, 7 contradictory emotions, and a million unfinished conversations, it feels like chaos wearing a charming smile. Here's the truth: Gemini doesn't mean harm. They mean curiosity. They mean movement. They mean expansion in every direction at once. But for Capricorn, that's the equivalent of watching someone rearrange the bricks of a cathedral while it's still under construction. Let me tell you a story. A Capricorn woman I once worked with, let's call her Elise, had spent weeks organizing a fundraising gala for a non-profit. Budgets, spreadsheets, schedules, vendor calls. Nothing missed her radar. Then came Liam, a Gemini volunteer with sparkling eyes, endless ideas, and a wild talent for networking. At first, Elise was intrigued. Liam could speak to donors, crack jokes with caterers, even suggest music playlists with uncanny insight. But 1 week before the event, he proposed a complete theme change. Let's make it a masquerade. People love mystery, he said, practically vibrating with enthusiasm. Elise stared at him like he had just suggested burning down the venue and starting over. To Liam, it was spontaneous brilliance. To Elise, it was disrespect to the time, the planning, the integrity of structure. What followed wasn't an argument. It was silence. That heavy, internalized Capricorn disappointment, the kind that hurts more than anger. She didn't explode. She didn't lecture. She adjusted. Alone. Quietly. But something in her trust cracked. This is the core of the Capricorn-Gemini clash: rhythm. Capricorn moves with the rhythm of the earth, slow, grounded, deliberate. Gemini dances to air, light, erratic, adaptable. To Gemini, every option is worth exploring. To Capricorn, every detour is a risk that could destabilize the whole mission. Even their communication styles collide. Gemini speaks to discover truth. Capricorn speaks after discovering it. So when a Gemini says one thing and then shifts positions 10 minutes later, Capricorn doesn't see intellectual play, they see inconsistency. Worse, they see unreliability. To Capricorn, time is linear. Every hour invested must yield a return. Gemini, however, experiences time as elastic. If they're inspired, they'll talk for 3 hours straight. If bored, they'll vanish in 30 seconds. Capricorns don't vanish. They endure. That's why the emotional toll is so intense. Capricorn interprets Gemini's scattered energy as lack of care. But it isn't. Gemini's mind just moves faster than loyalty can always track. And yet, here's the twist. Capricorns are secretly fascinated by Geminis. The way they adapt, shift, improvise. It's like watching water reshape itself mid-fall. To the goat who spends hours measuring every step up the mountain, Gemini feels like a miracle and a nightmare. But deep down, Capricorn knows something. Gemini teaches what Capricorn fears: surrender. To spontaneity. To curiosity. To the unknown. And perhaps, just perhaps, some blueprints are meant to be rewritten. This tension isn't an accident. It's a spiritual design. The universe didn't place Geminis in Capricorn's life to punish them. It placed them there to reveal what structures are too rigid. To remind Capricorn that not all plans are sacred. Some are cages in disguise. And maybe, just maybe, the Gemini who throws a wrench into everything is actually offering freedom. Not from discipline, but from the fear of losing control. Because control isn't the same as peace. Capricorns, ask yourself this. Have you ever felt unseen by a Gemini, only to realize you never explained the full blueprint in the first place? Have you ever judged their chaos and ignored the genius buried inside it? Gemini may be the storm, but even storms bring necessary change to dry, cracked ground. They don't destroy structure, they test it. They ask, will your plan survive the unexpected? And if it won't, maybe it wasn't meant to. Coming up next. Sign number 2, Sagittarius, the flame that refuses to be tamed. If you're a Capricorn who's ever tried to manage a Gemini, tell us in the comments, what was your breaking point? Or if you're a Gemini, do you think Capricorn just takes life too seriously? Let's talk about it below. Your insights might just be the bridge between earth and air. Sign number 2, Sagittarius, the flame that refuses to be tamed. If Capricorn is the architect of a secure future, Sagittarius is the wildfire that refuses to wait for blueprints. One builds with bricks, the other with dreams. One counts every step toward the summit, the other leaps without knowing where they'll land. And when these two collide, it's not just frustrating. It's a cosmic lesson wrapped in emotional friction. To the Capricorn soul, life is earned. Stability is sacred. And success is not a game of chance, it's the outcome of discipline, strategy, and sacrifice. Enter Sagittarius. Radiating joy. Chasing freedom. quoting philosophers 1 minute and booking a spontaneous one-way flight the next. To Capricorn, this isn't charm. It's chaos dressed in wanderlust. Let me paint you a picture. Jared, a Capricorn executive, had spent 10 years building a consulting firm from the ground up. He met Luna, a Sagittarius yoga teacher, at a retreat his assistant forced him to attend. Their attraction was instant. Her laughter cracked through his armor. Her spontaneity felt like sunlight on stone. But 6 months in, Jared found himself exhausted. Luna constantly changed her schedule. She'd agree to dinner on Friday, then cancel to follow a friend to a spiritual workshop 3 states away. She called it flowing with the universe. He called it complete disregard for plans. The final straw? She suggested they put a pause on their labels and see what arises naturally. To her, this was authentic. To him, it felt like being left out on a cliff with no rope. Here's what makes the Capricorn-Sagittarius clash so intense. It's not about right and wrong. It's about fundamentally different beliefs about how life works. Capricorn believes in climbing the mountain slowly, intentionally, and with respect for every risk. Sagittarius believes in jumping off the cliff, trusting that wings will appear on the way down. Capricorn plans. Sagittarius explores. Capricorn builds security. Sagittarius runs from confinement. Capricorn thinks, what will this cost me in 5 years? Sagittarius wonders, what will this teach me in the next 5 minutes? Even their relationship with truth differs. Capricorn sees truth as something earned, proven through evidence, consistency, and real-world application. Sagittarius treats truth as ever-expanding. What's true today may evolve tomorrow based on new insight, new experience, or a vision quest in Bali. To Capricorn, this feels like spiritual vagueness. To Sagittarius, Capricorn sounds like a spreadsheet with a heartbeat. And yet, the tension carries wisdom. Capricorns secretly admire Sagittarius's courage. That raw ability to leap without a net, to trust life in ways Capricorn can barely fathom. While Capricorns build safety, Sagittarius teaches that growth doesn't always happen inside safe spaces. That some soul lessons only emerge when you lose the map, miss the flight, or fall in love without a guarantee. Sagittarius doesn't mean to hurt Capricorn. They just don't play by rules Capricorn spent a lifetime perfecting. But maybe that's the point. Sagittarius exists to ask Capricorn, what would you become if you stopped needing to control everything? Because control can become a prison. And Sagittarius, whether a friend, lover, or colleague, is often the sole contract sent to kick the prison door open. Not to destroy what Capricorn built, but to make sure they're still alive inside it. The arguments between these two signs are rarely about logistics. They're about values. About the meaning of responsibility. Capricorn says, I show up because I gave my word. Sagittarius says, I show up when it feels aligned. To Capricorn, this is betrayal. To Sagittarius, it's authenticity. And the truth. Both are right in their own spiritual language. For this relationship to work romantic, familial, or professional, both signs have to expand their definitions of loyalty, commitment, and freedom. Capricorn must learn. Freedom isn't always a threat. And letting go doesn't mean giving up. Sagittarius must learn. Some structures aren't prisons, they're homes. And showing up even when it's inconvenient is how you earn real trust. So ask yourself, Capricorn, have you ever loved a Sagittarius whose fire made you feel both alive and terrified? Did they shake your structure? Did you mistake their freedom for abandonment? Because the wild one who couldn't be tamed might have been the exact flame you needed to awaken parts of yourself you'd locked away long ago. Coming up next. Sign number 3, Aquarius, the rebel who dares to erase the past. Capricorns, have you ever been burned by a Sagittarius you couldn't pin down? Or Sagittarians, do you feel misunderstood when Capricorn calls you irresponsible? Let's talk in the comments. This is a safe space for fire and earth to finally understand each other. Sign number 3, Aquarius, the rebel who dares to erase the past. Capricorn builds cathedrals. Aquarius wants to tear them down, not out of spite, but out of a deep belief that something better, more innovative, more evolved, could rise from the rubble. And for Capricorn, who may have spent years laying the foundation brick by brick, there's nothing more infuriating than someone questioning the very purpose of the structure, once it's already standing. This is where the real conflict begins. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the master of time, tradition, and earned authority. Aquarius, too, shares Saturn's legacy, but also answers to Uranus, the planet of disruption, rebellion, and the future. It's like they share a father, but grew up in completely different universes. Capricorn honors the past. Aquarius challenges it. Capricorn stabilizes. Aquarius revolutionizes. Capricorn says, "We do it this way because it's been proven to work." Aquarius replies, "And maybe that's the problem." Imagine this scenario. Darren, a Capricorn IT director, spent 5 years refining the internal systems of his company, creating protocols, layers of approval, compliance training, chain of command. Then came Skylar, an Aquarius consultant hired to disrupt outdated processes. Within 2 weeks, Skylar had proposed eliminating 2 departments, decentralizing decisions, and implementing a radical open feedback platform where employees could anonymously review their bosses in real time. To Skylar, it was visionary. To Darren, it was anarchy. He didn't say anything at first, typical Capricorn restraint. But every suggestion felt like a direct attack on his life's work. Worse, Skylar made it sound exciting. The younger staff cheered the new ideas. And for the first time in his career, Darren didn't feel respected. He felt obsolete. This is the Capricorn-Aquarius paradox. Both are intelligent. Both are strategic. Both value progress. But their methods could not be more opposite. Capricorn believes in incremental evolution. Build a better version of what already works. Aquarius wants revolution. Break it. Rebuild it. Reinvent everything. To Capricorn, Aquarius seems reckless, obsessed with change for its own sake. To Aquarius, Capricorn seems stubborn, clinging to dead systems out of misplaced loyalty. But the truth is deeper. Aquarius isn't trying to insult Capricorn's legacy. They're trying to free it from limitation. Emotionally, the tension gets even more subtle. Both signs tend to intellectualize their feelings, but in different ways. Capricorn processes emotion through structure. They compartmentalize, reflect, and speak only after the storm has passed. Aquarius processes emotion through analysis. They observe feelings like data points, curious but detached. So when conflict arises, Capricorn wants respectful silence, time to think. Aquarius wants immediate feedback, systemic change. Capricorn wants to preserve order. Aquarius wants to question why order even exists. No wonder they misunderstand each other so deeply. And yet, Capricorn is often secretly drawn to Aquarius's mind, to their ability to think outside all boundaries, to their unwillingness to play by the rules. There's admiration, masked as irritation, because Capricorn builds within the rules. But deep down, they sometimes wonder, is there more to life than stability? Aquarius shows up like a cosmic question mark, forcing Capricorn to confront what they never dared admit, that some rules aren't wise, just old. The spiritual lesson here? Aquarius arrives to shake Capricorn's allegiance to systems, to ask, does your structure serve you, or do you serve it? Capricorn spends lifetimes mastering institutions. Aquarius incarnates to dismantle them. Together, they can co-create a new kind of future. One that honors the wisdom of the past while making space for what hasn't yet been imagined. But only if Capricorn can let go of the need to defend, and Aquarius can slow down long enough to listen. So Capricorn, ask yourself, have you ever felt betrayed by someone who simply thought differently? Have you ever mistaken innovation for rebellion? Maybe the Aquarius in your life isn't here to erase your foundation, but to offer the missing piece that sets it free. Because tradition without evolution becomes a cage. And innovation without roots becomes chaos. But together, they become progress with purpose. Coming up next, sign number 4, Aries, the fire that burns through patience. Capricorn and Aquarius, are you allies or enemies? Share your stories below. Have you ever worked with, lived with, or loved someone whose ideas made you question everything you stood for? This is the comment section where tradition meets rebellion, and both are finally heard. Sign number 4, Aries, the fire that burns through patience. Capricorn is the chess master. Aries flips the board. Where Capricorn plans 10 moves ahead, Aries rushes in, crown tilted, sword blazing, and no plan in sight. To the outside world, Capricorn looks like control. To Aries, that looks like restriction. And when these two energies collide, it's not a disagreement. It's a spiritual explosion. Capricorn walks into every room with a sense of quiet responsibility. Even when they're young, there's an old soul energy about them. They observe before acting. They listen before responding. They delay gratification in service of the long game. But Aries is the embodiment of now. They leap before asking. They feel before thinking. They act before understanding. Capricorn says, let's wait. Let's strategize. Let's build something that lasts. Aries says, let's go. Let's start. Let's win, now. To Capricorn, Aries feels like a hurricane. To Aries, Capricorn feels like a cage. Let me tell you a story. Maya, a Capricorn team lead, was managing a high-stakes marketing campaign. Everything was mapped out: strategy decks, timelines, budgets, client checkpoints. Enter Kyle, an Aries hire, full of energy, bold ideas, and absolutely no respect for the process. In the first meeting, Kyle interrupted with 3 new concepts, ignored the brief, and insisted they just go with gut instinct. Maya held her breath. She wasn't offended by creativity, but she was staggered by the lack of discipline. Worse, Kyle wasn't malicious. He was passionate. He didn't see why things needed to be reviewed. He didn't understand why they couldn't just launch and learn. Maya saw recklessness. Kyle saw momentum. Both were right, but neither could hear the other. This is the Capricorn-Aries paradox. One believes power comes from control. The other believes power comes from action. Capricorn sees courage as persistence, doing the hard thing again and again until results arrive. Aries sees courage as immediacy, facing fear head-on and charging through it. Capricorn waits for the right moment. Aries creates it. Capricorn believes. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Aries believes. Hesitation is death. Emotionally, the disconnection runs deep. Capricorn internalizes. They process feelings privately, speaking only when they're sure it won't cause unnecessary damage. Aries expresses instantly. They feel, react, and release all within a single breath. To Capricorn, this looks like immaturity. To Aries, Capricorn's restraint looks like cold detachment. When Capricorn is silent, they're thinking. When Aries is silent, they're gone. And that right there is where the pain comes in. Capricorns often feel emotionally abandoned by Aries. Not because Aries doesn't care, but because Aries doesn't pause. They move. They survive. They adapt. But Capricorn, they root. They invest. They commit deeply and quietly. So when Aries leaves without explanation, it feels like being betrayed by someone who never even knew they were being trusted. And yet, Capricorn can't look away. There's something magnetic about Aries' fire. Their boldness. Their unapologetic drive. Capricorn might never admit it, but they admire Aries' ability to act without fear. Because Capricorn often holds themselves back, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect clarity. And Aries reminds them. Sometimes the breakthrough only comes after you leap. The spiritual lesson? Aries doesn't exist to ruin Capricorn's plans. They exist to test whether Capricorn's plans have become prisons. Capricorn builds with intention. But if they forget to adapt, the very structure they created can become the thing that traps their spirit. Aries storms in to shake that loose. Not to break Capricorn, but to ignite what's buried inside. Instinct. Desire. Aliveness. Because structure without passion is lifeless. And passion without direction is meaningless. They need each other even if they can barely stand each other. So Capricorn, ask yourself, have you ever dismissed someone because they acted too fast? When deep down, you were too afraid to act at all? Have you ever resented someone's recklessness? Because part of you wished you could be that free? Maybe the Aries in your life wasn't your enemy. Maybe they were a reminder that the fire you keep suppressing was never meant to be extinguished, just harnessed. Coming next. Conclusion, the soul contract hidden in conflict. Capricorns, has an Aries ever pushed you past your comfort zone? Aries, do you feel Capricorn kills the vibe with all their structure? Let's bring fire and earth together in the comments. Tell your truth. Conclusion, the soul contract hidden in conflict. Capricorns don't hate easily, but when they do, it's not because they're cruel or unforgiving. It's because their soul has reached a point of friction so intense, it threatens the very structure they've spent a lifetime building. And yet, here's the sacred irony. The signs that shake Capricorn the most are also the ones carrying keys to their highest evolution. Gemini tests Capricorn's control over time and logic, shattering rigid plans with spontaneous wonder. They challenge Capricorn to flow instead of force. Sagittarius burns through Capricorn's careful routines, reminding them that freedom is a form of spiritual responsibility, that not every decision must be practical to be meaningful. Aquarius questions Capricorn's loyalty to systems, urging them to rebuild with vision, not just tradition, to honor the future, not just preserve the past. Aries confronts Capricorn's patience with pure momentum, teaching them that movement is sometimes the only medicine for fear, that action doesn't always require permission. These aren't coincidences. These are soul contracts woven long before this lifetime. Capricorn came to this earth not just to build kingdoms, but to test what's worth preserving, to learn how to protect their peace without blocking their passion. And that learning often arrives in disguise, wearing the faces of people they cannot understand, energies they cannot contain, and emotions they never asked to feel. So what does this mean, Capricorn? It means the friction you feel is not failure, it's growth. It means the people who trigger you might be the exact souls your higher self invited into your path, not to break you, but to reveal the cracks that need healing. Because even the strongest mountain must weather the storm, and the storms you resist the most may be the very winds that reveal your next summit. Let's be honest, Capricorn, you've spent so long being strong, so long holding everything together for everyone. You've become the foundation in so many people's lives. But have you let anyone challenge your own? Not to knock you down, but to make sure you still feel alive. Because without contrast, there is no clarity. Without challenge, there is no expansion. And this is what these 4 signs bring. Gemini, with their mercurial lightness, shows you that not everything needs a 5-year plan. Sagittarius, with their wild flame, teaches you that joy isn't earned, it's experienced. Aquarius, with their radical mind, pushes you to reimagine the systems you once worshipped. Aries, with their fearless heart, dares you to move without knowing the outcome. They are not your enemies. They are your mirrors, reflecting the parts of you that are still trapped behind walls of control, fear, and perfectionism. So instead of resisting them, what if you ask the deeper question? What part of me do they activate that I've tried to silence? Because Capricorn, your soul isn't here just to succeed. It's here to awaken. And sometimes, the loudest wake-up calls come from energies that shake us to the core. Not because they're wrong, but because they're different. And that difference is divine. So what now? Now, you become more conscious. You don't shut the door on the signs that frustrate you. You open the window just enough to understand. You stay grounded, yes, but no longer immovable. You remain wise, but no longer unbending. You honor your path, but no longer punish yourself for veering from it when the moment demands something new. Because true mastery isn't control, it's balance. And to everyone watching who's not a Capricorn, if you're a Gemini, Sagittarius, Aquarius, or Aries, and you've ever been accused of disrupting a Capricorn's world, know this. You weren't a mistake. You were a divine message, delivered loud, messy, passionate, or strange, but necessary. Capricorn may not thank you now, but in the silence of their soul, your energy helped unlock something they didn't know needed to be set free. So let's not ask who clashes with Capricorn, let's ask, who awakens Capricorn? And in that question, we find the cosmic truth. Sometimes, the ones who shake us, save us. Capricorns, which of these signs challenged you the most? And what did they awaken in you? Drop your stories in the comments. Your journey may inspire someone else to turn pain into power. And if this message touched something real in you, like, share, and subscribe to Zodiac Secrets Revealed for more spiritual truths the stars have been waiting to tell you.